So hi. Welcome. It is Thick Thigh Thursday. And today we're talking a lot about getting into yourself, reflecting on yourself, that quieting that inner critic. I've been having a conversation on my page regarding like the clothing that you wear and feeling comfortable and I feel like I've spoken about this a lot, right? Like, confidence is my game. We talk about this. We talk about the things, the I guess the feelings of like oppression that you may feel like wearing certain clothes, being comfortable in certain spaces. And this is true when it comes to the concept of like yoga clothes, even or regular clothing, outfits you want to wear, whether it's fashion, you're going out, whether it's work. Because I know that's a big one for me, right? So for a lot of us, especially, um, for a lot of us, I love you too. um, we were oppressed when it comes to school, right? Like if you were unfortunate enough to have like boobs in middle or elementary school, even because yes, in high school, but yeah, they kind of popped up and and people caught up to the game, right? Hi, baby. But the concept of like, oh yeah, you got to cover up, we have to put on more, you can't show this much skin, you can't do this, do that. Now we, the women that grew up in this space, we grew up with those kind of rules and stuff happening from the time that we just started school, right? Like that happened to us. That's just what it was. It happened to us. We didn't have any control over it. This is my genetics. I've had these boobs since 6th grade, right? Like I've had hips since I was in diapers. Like it just is what it is. This is what my body looks like. But my body has been too much. It needed to be controlled and covered up and all these things. And so in school, those are the rules. There's, fingertip rule, whatever you got going on at your school, whatever experience you had, right? That's your experience and your people that went to school, Um, but then you had like the transition into the workforce, right? So we're older. Now, if you were a person that joined a more relaxed kind of workforce, you became a bartender, you became somebody that just didn't have like a corporate or educational based like background, right? That's not what you went to school for. That's not what you decided to do with your life. That's your space. So it was more comfortable for you to take whatever kind of route you wanted to with your outfits, right? Like if you ever go, if you're a tattoo person, the way you dress when you work at a tattoo shop is not going to be the same way you dress when you go to your lawyer's office. Like that's just the way it looks. That's the way life is set up, right? And we're used to that. We're used to this time. We're used to this experience. And that's all cool. But like, I feel like until recently, when they started to expand what the rules were or the capabilities were really of plus size clothing and like clothing for bigger women, curvier women, women with the chest, women with hips, with a body. Like if you were not in your straight low size, our options were so limited, were so low. And I've seen a lot of conversation. I don't know if it's just on my feed, but um drop a hand in the comments if you've seen it. Like there have been more conversations recently about like what plus size women are allowed to wear. So like they have these like the video cold shoulder sweaters and things like that. And it's like I have never been interested in wearing a sweater that covered me from my wrist to just right here and then showed my shoulder a little bit and then covered everything else up from the neck. All that I don't like. And for me personally, like I don't like turtlenecks. I don't like things that come up high in a collar. And I feel like if you possibly could have some titties up under there, they want to make sure that you're covered all the way up to the collarbone, right? Right. If you're not covered to the clavicle, it's inappropriate and you're indecent or whatever. You're going to be tempting the eye. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the logic is. I don't know what the reasoning is behind it for real. I know that fashion goes up and down and in and out. And it's just for a long time, we were not targeted as an audience for fashion, right? And so now it's really being like accepted more and understood more that, yeah, like our bodies are real. Our bodies are here to stay. We are not trying to work off all the weight that we have. We feel like this is the body. Can I dress it now? And so I feel like a lot of the conversation that I've had has been like along the lines of like, okay, so if you're questioning this, like, how do you feel about this? And like, Other people may address you like this, and if they have something to say, like, forget them, and ways to combat that and things to reply to. And I love sharing that with you guys, but I really, when I started working on the February newsletter, because it is focused on quieting the inner critic, right? I feel like that's what made this all bubble up when I put on that sweater, and I was just like, oh my God, like, I am not indecent in any way, shape, or form, but I feel like this shame. I feel this question. I feel like I don't know if this is appropriate. And it's like, this is not inappropriate for most things, to be quite honest. I could go most places and no one would feel like I was dressed in a vulgar way. I'm not trying to be a floozy or whatever else, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with the way I'm dressed. There's nothing wrong with what I have on. The point is that, like, because I feel like, oh, well, I'm showing this much skin or I'm doing this, like, I feel inappropriate. I feel uncomfortable. This causes me to now act a certain way as well, right? It causes me to be different, basically, right? I'm putting on a show. I'm putting on a facade. I'm covering, I'm hiding, I'm whatever. I shouldn't feel that way, especially when nobody said anything. Right? So, like, this is where I get to the point of saying, like, okay, when we're talking about Thanksgiving, going home and your aunt's gonna say something and you want to push a pumpkin pie on her face, again, real. And maybe she deserves that. But when it's you, maybe you deserve the pumpkin pie. And really, all that means is, like, stop being so hard on yourself. And how? How, Seisha? How do we do that? I feel like that's a really big question. So I want you to really come to that space to say, okay, yes, is this me or is this someone else? Is this somebody else's feelings that I'm putting on myself? Someone else's expectations, society's expectations. Who told me these are society's expectations? Do I believe them in other circumstances? Because I should not. If I don't, then I should not now, right? Start trying to believe them or give all of my energy and focus towards them. That's ridiculous. So I have to evaluate who it is that I'm talking to. What perspective is this coming from? Why do I feel within myself that, oh my goodness, I can't wear this, I can't dress like this, I shouldn't, for whatever reason? Why shouldn't I? What am I doing? What do I believe that I am, I don't know, causing, right? Like, am I causing problems? Am I being inappropriate? Um, these are questions that, like, if I can answer them for myself confidently, which is the really important part, if I can answer those questions for myself confidently, then I can move forward confidently. I can move forward comfortably, and I can say, wait, I don't know why I'm asking these questions, but the answer is yes. Yes, I am dressed appropriately. Yes, I am comfortable in my clothes. Yes, I am an appropriate, like, I guess, whatever level of style, casual, dressy, formal, whatever it is, right? And also appropriate for, like, the situation. If we're gardening, am I dressed in my clothes for gardening? If we're going to the beach, am I dressed in my clothes for the beach? Right? That's something you really struggle with, right? Like, that understanding and feeling like confidently, yeah, I'm fine. I am dressed appropriately for what I'm doing right now. This is part of the reason why, like, it's weird. Like, I do try to, like, normalize the concept of, like, my skin, right? Like, my skin being out. I I have never felt more conservative than since I moved to Florida. When I moved to Florida, I was like, oh, so y'all just never wear clothes. And it's like, well, no, because we live on the surface of the sun. Oh, okay. Put all that together pretty quick. I got hip to the game. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm in. I have and then, like, with the clothing partnerships and stuff that I've had, I've replaced a lot of my wardrobe. There's a lot of things that I've done, right? To be here and in this space, and, like, and to understand where things, like, feel appropriate or whatever, right? But still, like, I still have that question, right? I still have that thought. I still have that moment where I'm like, oh no, but, like, I shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't have this on, or I shouldn't look like this, or is this too much skin? Is this inappropriate? Let me tell you, I live in Orlando, okay? And I lived in New York City. I am used to tourists. The thing about living where tourists are is everybody's gonna be dressed like everything at all times. It's just gonna be all over the place. And that's how it works. So this is, if anything, encourages the concept of like absolutely wear what you want to wear. Thank you so much for sharing, darling. Right? Absolutely share, wear what you want to wear what you want to put on, wear what feels comfortable for you. And I feel like that's a big barrier that we break down in general. And I feel like there's honestly like a lot of content to support that now, right? But we have gotten to the point of saying like, okay, so yeah, wear the shorts, wear the tank top, show your arms, show your thighs, whatever it is that it's not going to kill anybody. I feel like a lot of content exists around that space, but then like, where's the space where we go and we actually eliminate it from our heads, right? How do we find that space? And I feel like that confident space, right? Where you can say to yourself, no, I didn't do anything wrong here. Yes, I look fine. Yes, this is right. Yes, I am appropriate for the space that I'm in. And I feel like the questions that, like, there are some questions that maybe you should ask yourself, and like really think about where those thought processes, right? So one thing that I do want you to acknowledge in the concept of taking control of what your inner critic says to you is that your inner critic could even be your friend. And that is reflected in the journal prompts. So if you haven't seen this month's newsletter, please make sure you go to thickthightyoga.com, look at the newsletter, read through it. Today is the last day to sign up for your free month of the Thybrary if you go through the newsletter. So check your emails for that. Today is not the last day. We have 2 weeks left on your early bird discount for Mexico. So if you are looking to come to Mexico and you want that early bird discount, get the early bird discount now. It's going to go away very soon. If those income tax checks are starting to come in, make sure you drop them down and get your discounted rate. From here, and remember, class on Saturday, right? There's class Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, every Saturday. You can sign up right on my website, thickthightyoga.com. I would love to have you in class always, always, always. Every Saturday, it's me live on Zoom. We do it. It's a very small group usually, and just one-on-one. And then if that's not right for you, again, Thybrary. If the timing doesn't work for you, join the Thybrary. Do it whenever you want. It's me teaching real classes. So if you want to know what that's like, go to my YouTube channel, try them out, try out the sessions that I have available, try out your yoga tutorials. And then if you have questions, feel free to ask questions. These conversations also are on my YouTube channel under Thick Thigh Thursdays, right? This video is going to go up live like the minute we are done talking. That's how this works. I would love to see you in class. I would love to have you as a Thybrary member. Remember, if you're on my mailing list, you get all types of bonuses and discounts, and you know about it first. So make sure you're on my mailing list. And I think that's all my things. So back to what I was saying. When you're quieting your inner critic, right, which is something that you can focus on and you can put in your yoga tracker if you're a part of the Thybrary, and you can reflect and you can use your journal prompts, right, to help you because they get extra ones. Where we're reflecting on quieting that inner critic, the questions that they give you, the overthinking, right? If you suffer from that overthinking, one, you can raise your hand, drop a little heart, something down in the comments, right? If that's something you suffer from, I understand. It happens to a lot of us. It happens, and we get to this space where it's like, I'm so down on myself, and I talk to myself like this, and I hear it, right? I see it in the media. When I'm looking at social media, I'm talking down to myself. I don't look like this. I don't sound like this. I don't this, I'm that, whatever. I'm not, people don't like my posts like that. You're getting all types of reflections there, right? And you're doing the comparison thing. It's not feeling good. You are hard on yourself, right? So in order to acknowledge what's going on here, you have to actually stop and take control of that voice. what I usually tell my clients when we work through this in coaching is like the voice has to have a name. Give the voice a name so you can talk to it, right? And understand that that doesn't need to be you. That doesn't need to be um that doesn't need to be a bad thing, a bad voice. It's just a separate voice from you. So you don't have to feel like I'm so hard on myself all the time, right? Instead, it can just be like, why is this voice coming up so hard on me? And I can talk to that. It was confusing, but it's okay. Um, you can talk to that voice. You can tell it to be quiet. You can tell it to help you. You can talk to it positively. So if this voice is being critical, then you can allow that voice to ask you the same questions, but also be confident in your answers to them. Also be confident and cool and understand, like, all right, well, my inner critic is saying that this outfit is too loud. And then the question that you have to reply back, you have to be able to say, okay, too loud for what? I'm going to a dark bar. I'm going on a date. I want my date's attention. I'm going to a party. Or this is about me, right? Now, if you are supposed to be in a choir and wearing all black and you have on a green neon dress, yes, it's you. Something's wrong with you, right? But your inner critic should say, should you be wearing this right now? Again, is the answer yes or no? If you're in a space and you say, yeah, I should be wearing this right now. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Then can you release the shame that you feel about whatever it is? Maybe you feel like it hugs you too tight and people might say something, or that you have cleavage, or you have this, or you have that. Those are thoughts that we have, right? Like that plague us, and it's just within your head. And the only thing it does is stress you out. Because what's crazy is, right? So I talk about this with my boyfriend a lot, and he says that, like, well, no, we don't see it that way because you do it. So if you're out there in your sexy dress and whatever, right? You made it out. If you're beating yourself up in your head, no one else really knows that. You're just stressed out. So somebody's going to tell you you look nice and you're not going to believe it. But they saw it and you look nice, right? And if nobody said anything about how you look, then it wasn't offensive enough for them to say anything about, right? And then we always have to question, well, if somebody is going to say something, who is that person? Do they have value, or is it somebody that you should not care about what they have to say anyway? Like, how are you going to talk about me looking like a stuffed sausage and when you look like a burst can of biscuits? What are we talking about right now? Seriously, as much as I tell my daughter, people really aren't worried about you. It's you, right? And it's hard to get there. And like, I don't know how old your daughter is, but it is these thoughts that we have, right? They just come into our head. We think about them, and like, it's I don't know if you guys watch the show Big Mouth. I honestly am a fan. The way they've explained the thoughts that happen, and the way your hormones are and things like that, I have loved the explanation. And especially because sometimes it's not even like, okay, yeah, this really feels like a good explanation. It's just like, oh, everybody else feels this. Okay, so that's not me. That's not just me. I hate that we all have to go through this, but at least it's not just me, right? Like, I'm not the one being crazy. It's just, this is the way your hormones shift. This is the way your body works. This is the thoughts that you have. This is it. Um, so taking the time to acknowledge that, taking the time to say, okay, my inner critic is going to exist. I should have a process to reflect on things. And then, so one thing that I usually give my clients as like a tool is give yourself checklists, right? I love the concept of like, yes, 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 right? So if you can speak to yourself and say, okay, so why is this always negative? What questions do I get asked regularly? What questions do I ask myself inside my head all the time? What questions plague me, right? If you can get to that and kind of understand what that space is, then you can say things, you can find your answers to say, okay, but yes, I can check this off. So you also can evaluate, like, okay, but if you ask me questions, then I can actually come up to a good space. I can actually say to myself, well, I've proven it. Now you don't need any outside approval. It's not about anybody else. And this is me. So if you feel if, like I said, if somebody feels like, oh, you're gonna, oh, this outfit is gonna be inappropriate and I'm gonna stand out like a sore thumb and people are gonna look at me and stare at me and this and the other. If you don't want the stares, then I guess you can change your outfit. But what makes you think that they're gonna stare at you based on where you're going? Is everyone else gonna be dressed like this? Is this an appropriate thing for where you're going? Are you wearing a ball gown to the bowling alley? Because then sure, but are you wearing jeans and a t-shirt or a blouse? Are you wearing something normal? Are you wearing something that's cute on you? Are you wearing something that makes you happy? Are you wearing something that feels good against your skin? All of those things are far more important than what you think somebody that doesn't even exist might say. They don't exist. It doesn't matter. What do you feel? What are you feeling within you, right? And so this is where I want to release those stresses, right? So rather than trying to silence your inner critic, acknowledge the presence of it. Respond with your own level of compassion. Understand that you are worthy of the same kind of compassion and grace, if not more, than you offer other people every day. If you can say to other folks like, oh my God, no, girl, you look so good, and this, that is your shirt, your dress, your body and your shape and this and the other, and you can say those things, hey, why can't you say that to yourself? Why can't you acknowledge like, no, this looks good and I like this and this is all right, and thank you for sharing. And I am allowed to look like this in this space. I'm not sure what's true, but um if you understand that, like, yeah, you're checking off the right boxes, you are dressed appropriately, then if somebody's going to try to shame you, then something is wrong with them, right? And that's a hard space to kind of hold on to. But now, again, if it's you within you, then something's wrong with you and you need to fix you, and you are allowed to fix you. I promise. You're allowed to do it. Because if we try to just like suppress the negative thoughts, so we try to just like, or we feed into it and we try to reach some standard that we're never going to reach or whatever, then you're never going to set yourself up for success here. But if you can understand, like, yeah, I'm taking really good care of my body, I'm moving, I'm eating well, I am drinking enough water, I am doing the things to express my emotions and work that out, so I'm not stressed, I'm not suppressing anger and whatever else, right? I'm not doing bad things for me, I am doing good things, I am taking care of myself, I am that. If you can answer those things for yourself, there is no need to keep harping on it, because when your inner critic tells you like, oh, well, this is what this looks like, your belly looks fat. Maybe my belly looks fat. Did I take care of my body today? Well, then this is the body that you're going to get today. And I look fine. I look great. I look as good as I'm going to look today. And I know it. And I tried. Um, and this is what you get, right? I need lessons. This is why I do sessions. And so this is where I feel like this is where I kind of get into it with the concept of like coaching, right? In this space, you need a conversation that is meant for you. So when people give like general advice, it might sound really good, but it's hard to figure out exactly how you want to apply it to yourself, because you don't know that space, because you don't know how to navigate that, because that's not something that you've ever really had to do on purpose. When you grow up, when you're learning who you are as a child, like people are explaining things to you because you're a child and you are living through new experiences and you know it's new. When you get older, now we're like, well, why is it still new experiences? Can I get some chill? Can I find it's hard. It's hard to acknowledge. It's hard to identify what steps to take next, which is why I feel like one-on-one conversations with like people that have training, people that have certifications, people that have actual business doing what they're doing and coaching what they're coaching, right? Like I coach through yoga, my wellness certifications, my experience, and like I use that in my teacher degrees as part of my teaching here. And I do that on purpose. I use the skills that I have on purpose. When you go to a licensed therapist, you don't just go to somebody for something. You go to a licensed doctor, a licensed dentist, right? You go to a certified yoga teacher. You don't go to somebody who's just randomly telling you to go try to touch your toes and they push it on your back, right? I think yoga is a great way to implement this into your life. This is part of why I do include yoga in my coaching program, because I'm teaching you yoga, you're learning and you're connecting to your body. The more, and it was awesome when Candace asked me last Thursday, like, how did you learn to love your body? A part of how I learned to love my body is that, one, I just had to accept that this was the body. Okay, this is the body you're gonna get when you wake up, when you eat food, when you don't eat food, when you this, when you that. I could starve for 60 days. I'm not gonna lose 200 pounds. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Um, and thank you. I feel like my body is beautiful too. I can accept that. I have gotten here. And I feel like a part of this is that I know that I'm strong. I know that I am capable. I do this. I work on what I have. I know I'm flexible. I am capable, right? And part of learning that I am capable helped me come to this space where, yeah, I know that I can trust what I'm doing. I'm allowed to feel good in my body. I am allowed to say, yeah, I'm doing the right things and I'm taking the right steps. So if I can do that, why am I still shaming myself? Right. And so having the consistent conversations, it's hard. It's a lot of work. It is heavy. Hi. Um, Okay. Well, and so that's one of the things that we have here, that the conversations that I have here all the time, that like I don't do weight loss. That is not my job. That is not what I work with people for. And when people come to me, I am very straightforward about that. If you want to do weight loss, if you want to lose weight, if you believe your body has weight to lose, go for it. Absolutely. I support you in that because I want you to love your body to health. But I just teach people to love their bodies. So, and one thing that I'm 100% sure of is if you are moving your body regularly, if you are feeding your body as if you love it, you will lose whatever weight you are not meant to have on you, and you will never have to diet, right? You'll never have to change, and you'll never have to binge. You'll never have to do those things because you are regularly being good to yourself. You are regularly treating your body well. That's a part of the balance of like learning different types of yoga, learning different I should say moves and different yeah, but also the different elements, right? Taking in the meditation into play, taking the sense of physical asanas in the way, right? But if you are considering like, I need more, I need to make a change, I need to move, I need to do this, I need to do that, then you do, right? Find that space, start to make the moves, start to do the things, start to be good to your body. That doesn't mean you have to crash diet. That doesn't mean that you have any weight to lose at all. I just, um, I just don't want you to feel like that your job in your life is to look smaller, be smaller, fit into smaller clothes, take up less space. It is not. The only place we need to make some space is inside your head, right? So if you have all those thoughts dancing around and running and like really causing you to build up steam, when again, nobody else is thinking these things, right? No one else is directly looking at you and saying this, right? That's okay. You don't have to live in that space. You don't have to hold on to those things. You are allowed to let them go. They are heavy. They take up space. They're uncomfortable. They're stressful. Let them go. And that's hard to do, which is why I like to have these conversations. It's part of the reason why, like, I create the programs that I create, right? Like, we're going to Bali at the end of next month, and through April for a few weeks. We are in Mexico in July. Check that out if you are looking for a retreat to go to, right? Where we come together, we have these conversations to really just share our space and understand like we're all on the same page here, right? A big thing that that unfortunately comes thank you, that unfortunately comes with being in a bigger body, right? Is that you do get a lot of people commenting on your body. This is, yeah. hmm as soon as I said that, yeah, right. So we get that a lot, and it's like, I don't know why you felt like you had the right to comment on my body. But because of that, we've grown up hearing a lot of things about how we look. And a lot of things about how we look, about how we could lose so much weight if we did this, how that. No, I promise you, not all of us look like this because of how much that we've eaten. My shoulders are not this wide because of anything I've ever eaten in my life. And they won't be. Right? And that's just what it is. I'm built like this. This is how I look. This is how what my body looks like. And so because of like the largeness, because of the size, yep, it's my genetics, right? It's our genetics. Because of that, this is how I look. So now clothes fit me a certain way, right? Or I have to find clothes that fit a certain way, or I have to buy certain things. I have to shop at certain stores in order to get there, right? And it makes you feel secluded. It makes you feel separate. It makes you feel like you don't belong here, or there's not a space for you here, or you're just too big. You're just too this, too that. Well, I'm perfect. Well, thank you. No one is perfect, but I mean, listen, I swear, and I mean this with as humbly as I can say this. I don't need the encouragement. It's okay. I know it. I'm here to have the conversation. And that's why I say, like, it's great that, like, I feel like people are I feel like people are finally seeing this, right? And we are having the conversations, and we're really building this space. But at the same time, it's like, all right, none of this um none of this matters if you're hard on yourself, right? It's great if you can get comfortable with wearing your shorts, wearing from good, right? If you're comfortable wearing your shorts, if you're comfortable going out, if you're comfortable attending things and going to events, I'm so glad, because like there are people who aren't, right? And sometimes you're not. So if you needed to get to that space, again, that's more conversation that we need to have, and something that I work on with people about. But like there's so much within you. If you know it's extrinsic, if you know it's other people that get to you, then great, tackle that. But if you know it's you, really take the moment to reflect and come within yourself, right? Um that good old self-compassion will save you from the impact on your mental health that this does cause, and this can be a problem about, right? Like we using that negative self-talk and over again, right? We even sometimes intentionally do things that trigger us. Like we know, if I know that putting on this sweater is just gonna make me cry, then I'm gonna throw the sweater out. I'm gonna give it away. I'm gonna donate it. I'm gonna do something. It doesn't make sense, right? And the fact that, like I said, I put on that sweater and I was like, ooh, like I started to judge myself. It wasn't about crying. It wasn't about, um, it wasn't about like being uncomfortable or sad or anything like that. It was like just really like the judgment, the negative feelings, the what ifs. Like I didn't want to feel that, and I acknowledged it so strongly in that moment, because like I said, I've been going through these conversations and these questions about like your inner critic. And in the conversation of like, I'm going to believe in what I have on, and I can like this, and there's no other reason for me to feel judged, right? There's no one around. It doesn't matter if they do. Nothing is going to happen to me, right? You need all of this reassurance to just come to a space where you can just chill, and you can comfortably go to the coffee shop and have maybe a little bit of cleavage, and that's just what it is, and you're not stressed about it, and you don't feel like a Jezebel sitting there. It's just a matter of, this is what I wore today. I am not offensive. Nobody's going to lose an eye. And it's that's okay. It's okay. I am okay. I am presentable for the world. And again, like it's I need some sessions. And legit, like this is real. Like this is the conversation that I have. This is what we do. This is what we talk about because it can feel so weird. Like I know how I want to feel and I don't quite feel that way. I'm putting on a show of almost feeling like that when I go out, and I can put on the bravado and I can be confident enough to wear the outfit or whatever. But if I don't really feel it, then it's hard, right? Like it's just I can't wear this. I can't hold on to this weight. And I really genuinely feel like you shouldn't. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this conversation up. Um, all of what I just said is going to be available on my YouTube, and the link to the newsletter will be there as well. And if you have any questions, as always, please reach out to me. I love you all greatly. Woo. Okay.